وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا.
Have you ever been in a place that looked Islamic, but deep down, you didn't feel Islam? It didn't feel Islamic at all. Like, have you ever stood in salah, but your heart felt distracted? Because this experience that I'm about to share with you all, this experience kind of stayed with me, right? This is a short story time of the time I attended Tarawih in Times Square. Salam, shalom, bonjour, sak passe, bonsoir, sak passe to the ummah. Welcome. So today, I'm going to be discussing something that supposedly is creating a debate amongst the internet people. That is Tarawih. Tarawih, the one in Times Square. I went. The bright lights, the crowd, the noise, tourists everywhere. Prospectively, I can see both sides. Some people see it as a beautiful dawah, a public display of Islam, showing the beautifulness of Islam. But to others, they see it as a photo op. They see it as something that takes away the khushu, the sincerity of the prayer. This video is not to debate whether it's halal or haram. I just want to take you into a moment. Because for me, this isn't just a moment. This isn't just a headline. I was actually there. Okay? So this is a story from a few years back. I went to one of the first big public prayers in the city. And I was there with my wife at the time. We were both so excited, being newlywed. It felt like we were knocking 3 birds with 1 stone, to be honest. You know, the plan was pray Tarawih, grab dinner, and then enjoy the vibe of New York City. And especially for somebody from the South, if you've never been to New York City, it's a great time. Honestly, at first, it was a great time. It started great. We found parking close by in New York. That's everything. And everything was walking distance. So the vibe felt alive. Now, I did have to stop at a masjid to make wudu and pray Maghrib. And let's just say, that masjid, the experience at that masjid was a little bit questionable. I don't want to talk bad about anyone or anybody's masjid, but let's just say, water all over the floor, no proper space. I ended up with no socks. Why? Because my feet accidentally touched that flooded water. Let's just say it's one of those places, the minute you walk in, you just feel like, I caught something. I need to go get checked. But I digress. We got to Times Square. We laid down our mats right down in the cold pavement. And then you hear the adhan. Felt so great. And for a slight moment, you forget. You forget where you are, tourists, the cameras, the noise, even my concern about people taking pictures of my wife, her being in the back, being unable to see and protect her, right? Constantly worrying about her. But as soon as the prayer started, you forget everything, right? But amidst the prayer, as I'm coming up from sujood, I look up, and right above me, or right above us, those massive glowing screens. As the Imam is reciting a beautiful verse from the Quran, then a huge Victoria's Secret ad flashes across the screen. Yung bagay ki tellement drôle. It was very strange. Let's just say that. Tellement drôle. 1 second you're trying to connect with Allah, and in the next, you're staring at a 50-foot tall model in lingerie, you know, half nude, half naked. It was jarring. It was jarring, to be frank. It was very jarring. It was a clash between sacred and the profane. And I remember thinking, like, is this the proper environment for our most intimate conversation with Allah? Think about it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a certain energy. There's a certain energy when you see thousands of Muslims gathered in the heart of New York City. You start to think, Subhanallah, Islam is visible here. Islam is everywhere. But then, the that thought quickly change it into another question, right? You start asking, just because something looks like dawah, does that mean it's beneficial? Or are we sometimes placing Islam in environments that slowly strips away its khushu? This is not for debate. This is not for me to tell you whether it's halal or haram. At the end of the night, I remember my wife asked me. She asked me, would I do this again? And then I honestly told her, from face value, I believe the brothers and the sisters that were involved, their intention, their niyyah was sincere. And I asked that Allah accept from them. But for me, the execution, it just did not sit right with me. Praying in front of images like that is not ideal. Like, I can't be praying and then nudity is in my face. Ça, c'est pas seulement la prière, c'est côté on met cœur là. It's not about the prayer. Well, it is about the prayer, but prayer is also where you place your heart. So I ask myself, is the spectacle overshadowing the spirituality? Because at the end of the day, our deen is about intention. If the goal is visibility, Times Square does that. But if the goal is connection with Allah, praying Tarawih, then losing yourself in worship, maybe a local masjid in the Bronx, or maybe a local masjid in Queens, or even better, we could have held Tarawih at a large park even, right? Because if we can do Eid at a park, I don't see the difference between Eid and Tarawih being held at a park. Again, the point of this video is not to tell you whether you should go or not, but I truly want to hear from you all, especially if you're Caribbean Muslim. If you ever pray Tarawih in Times Square, or if it's something you'd want to experience. Èske nous pensez ça c'est un bagay? Do you think that this is a good thing to pray Tarawih in Times Square? Or does it make you feel proud? Does it make you feel proud seeing Islam in that spotlight? Or does it feel like we're turning our faith into a tourist attraction? Drop your thoughts, comments, insights. And this is not about me telling you you shouldn't go or you should go. I'm not telling you any of that. Share your opinion if you're somebody who was there, and I'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.